question, and also something that uh, all organizations are striving for these days, especially in the purview where you have multiple generations working together in the same organization. Say, for example, I work with Thermax, and we have four generations working in the same company, so it's difficult to maneuver conversations, decisions. So I think creating an employee first environment becomes all the more significant in such companies, to begin with, also in startups for that matter. Apart from the regular stuff, I'm not going to spend much time on talking about the regular things like having a very friendly leave policy and flexi work environment. All of those are materialistic things. I think what makes a company truly an employee first company or an employee first organization is, there are three or four fundamental approaches that an organization must take, in my opinion. First, an organization, I think, must invest in capability before comfort. Even today in 2026, you would see organizations investing a lot on fun Fridays and competitions and wellness and free meals, etc., but probably not on learning and development or development in general. So I think capability building comes first. So capability before comfort is what I truly believe in. So that's I think something that's very very fundamental to employee first environment. Secondly, what I could think of is, how your overall work is designed. You spend on an average, uh, even if I am not exaggerating, 10 hours a day at work, at a minimum, right? So if you spend 10 hours in a place, uh, the kind of work that you do better be good. I mean, it's the onus lies on the organization to create uh, meaty roles, standardized processes, very clear goal setting, structured goal setting, very clear expectation setting. So I think the overall funda of work design needs to be right in the first place, and I think that would make an employee first environment too. I mean, it would be one of the key contributors to building an employee first environment. Third, I also feel, and third and fourth point, let me club them together because I feel they're interlinked. Uh, I feel a lot has to do with how your managers show up. Sometimes you can even survive in a company that's not doing so well, but if you have a great manager. So I think how managers show up every day also contributes hugely, immensely to creating an employee first environment. How they take decisions, how they show up in general. I think most employee experiences are shaped less by policy and more by the kind of interactions that we have with our immediate stakeholders, and manager being one of the most important stakeholders. So I think that's my take on it. That's something that comes to my mind. So two things. Not sure if I can put this into a single sentence, but two pieces of advice. One, regardless of which field you belong to, don't shy away from hard work. Smart work will get you in the game, but hard work will make you stay in the game, and it'll never be old fashioned. It'll never go out of date. So that's something that I've personally believed in, and I've seen the results myself. So I think that's one generic piece of advice, whether or not you work in HR, and especially if you work in HR and are just starting out in the field of HR. I believe you should spend 100% of your time learning the business, understanding the business first. Only then you could be a strategic partner to the business. Credibility in HR is always earned and not assigned. So I think that's my take on that. A call would not be enough to talk about this, but I think the top three things that come to my mind these days, with the kind of workforce that we now have in organizations. First and the most important quality that comes to my mind is being able to have quality conversations, the ability to have quality conversations. And by conversations, I mean the entire spectrum of communication, right from having a good listening ear, being able to ask good questions, being able to actually churn that potential amongst the employees, being able to give structured and continuous feedback, because that's something that's always in demand, especially with the younger generation these days. Being able to set very good, clear goals, being able to talk about those goals explicitly. I think that's imperative to any leader. So the ability of having quality conversations, I believe, stands first in my list. Secondly, I also feel, uh, we live in an era where there's too much information. There's information overload from all angles. So I think a leader must have decision courage. Sometimes I've seen leaders shying away from taking decisions to a point that the problem solves itself. You end up delaying a decision for so long that it no longer requires a decision now. So I think the ability to take bold decisions, the ability to challenge the status quo in any organization. So I think that's something that would really influence me had I been one of those team members looking up to my leader. So that's something that comes to my mind. And third, I also feel a leader must be capable enough to give a sense of purpose to their teams. Uh, Gone are those days when we only worked for money. I mean, money is extremely important, it runs our homes, but I'm sure you don't spend 10, 12 hours a day only for money, right? I mean, you would want to work in an environment which teaches you something, which helps you grow as a person first and then as an employee later. So I think personal growth comes from a place where you find clear connection between what you do and the kind of impact it creates. So I think a leader must be able to instill that sense of purpose. So sense making is, I think, something that a leader must be good at. The ability to cut through the noise, provide very good context, and help the teams understand why a decision is being made. Explain the decision rather than announcing a decision. So I think that's something that I would say. This is a topic, that is very dear to me, and I keep talking about it in various forums wherever I'm asked about this. I sincerely hope, and this could pinch, okay, but I sincerely hope that this reaches majority of the HR folks out there. I think gone are those days where the success of HR was measured by the amount of activities you conducted and calendar events or completions. And as in, those days are gone. HR is no longer tactical, no longer clerical. So I think if HR wants a seat at the table, it has to move beyond execution, and it must develop the courage to recommend, consult, to suggest. So I think that's my message. Please step into the role of a strategic partner, and move away, completely eradicate. I mean, that should be an ideal goal. Eradicate clerical and admin work entirely. So I think all of these competitions and the engagement, the fun piece in the organization can give you a lot of visibility, but visibility should never be confused with value. Uh, these things can give visibility, but probably not value. So I think being a strategic partner to the business is imperative for HR today in the world of AI. So I think that's my central message, key message to all the HR folks out there. There are many actually, but I think something that quickly comes to my mind is the movie Swades. I'm sure you know about it, the one with Shah Rukh Khan in it. I think that movie stayed with me, of course, as a movie also, and the kind of message that the movie gives. I think, you know, the character in that story uses his knowledge, his skills, not just for his personal success, but I think for a larger cause. And me being in L&D, I think that has been one of my personal drivers as well. There's no bigger joy, than seeing somebody really improve standards of life, or somebody really move from point A to point B because of something that you did for the person. So I think that's something that comes to my mind. So movies for this.